Thank you so much for joining us at our seminar. Our worst fear was nobody was going to turn up, so thank you for not turning up. The next thing is I can just hear next door shouting. Now, we know the guy talking, Ashley. He's a great guy, but obviously we want to give him a little bit of a run for his money. So, between us, can we make loads of noise just to really throw them next door? So, 1, 2, 3, go! Yay! Whoa, stuff. I love it. Fighting talk. Okay, Ashley might have caught on to our trick. I'm not going to say anything else. Yeah, that's all we're doing for half an hour is just like trying to outshout one another. So, welcome to our seminar today. We are the Success Sculptors, and we'll talk a little bit more about who we are in a second. But we wanted to talk to you guys, small business owners and business decision makers, about why is the time now to be really key and understanding what emotional intelligence truly is, how it affects all of us across all sorts of different mediums in our business, why we need to be worried about it or acting upon it, and how that helps us build resilience within our business. And not just business for today, but growth and leverage for the future as well. I'm very excited I have a clicker because now I feel safe. So hopefully this is going to go the right way. So we are a Success Sculptors, and as I said, we are a business consultancy. I am a business coach, so I help people with business strategy. We have the amazing financier over here, who I'm going to announce her name in a second, and our super marketing queen here. And what we really do is we tailor true business solutions across those 3 expertise areas to help businesses at any stage of their business, whether it's start out. So we have a brilliant idea, how do we build a business model that's robust, to we're growing and scaling, how do we do that? Because actually the pains of growing can be just as difficult as the pains of not going. And then if we want to leverage to true owner independence, or actually we're looking at how we have a capital event. So how do we actually monetize our hard work in our business? Which sadly only 1 in 10 businesses actually ever get the opportunity to do. All of us have seen those signs in the window that says closing down sale. So hopefully we never get there as small business owners. We have a key strategy that helps us do that. So who are we? Who are these mystery people that are calling themselves Success Sculptors? Well, this is us. So my name's Emma Cole. I'm a business coach, and as I said, that's what I do. I help people grow their businesses from embryonic to stratospheric, in essence. And then I've got, on my left, I've got the awesome Claire, who is, as I said, our finance, our fractional CFO. She's an all-round guru on tax as well. So much so that a huge number of accountants actually speak to Claire directly about her understanding of things that make most of us wink quite badly. And then to my right, I have the awesome, somewhat sparkly, I feel like I should have got the memo on the sparkles. Our marketeer, no surprising, looking gorgeous, is our wonderful Elaine. So we'll be talking to you today about our areas of expertise, and how we're going to do that is we held a number of seminars where we talked to business owners, where we tried to share knowledge, share experience, best ideas, top tips, all of that. We're going to answer some of the questions that we've had from some of our last seminars, rather than thrill you with the delights of PowerPoint. Is everyone happy, or were they expecting 57 slides of excitement? No? Excellent, you're in the right room then. Because it's only 4, not 57, you'll be pleased to know. So, without further ado, what we'll do is we'll get into the nuts and bolts of it. So, I'm not sure if I can shout louder. Yeah, back to normal service in a moment. Right, okay, so there are 4 levels of intelligence, some of which you might be familiar with. So today we're going to talk about emotional intelligence, which is how we connect through our emotions, how we make decisions, sometimes rightly or sometimes wrongly. We could look, though, at IQ, which is how we deal with numbers, so some of us might be familiar with that as a level of intelligence. We also have AQ and SQ. AQ is how we deal with adversity, So how do we deal with tough situations? And SQ is how we deal with social situations. So we're going to be looking at emotional intelligence in this particular section and how that affects us as businesses. So without further ado, I am going to turn to the lovely Elaine and ask her some questions, which she's going to give us her insight on.
Right, so I'll go here then. You might need to come a bit nearer so they can hear the question. Sorry, we might have to cuddle in.
I was just going to say, it's just why we're good friends, isn't it, really? So, from a marketing perspective, I thought it'd be really interesting to pick up some of these questions and ask Elaine to share her expertise on them. So, how do you, Elaine, use emotional intelligence to tap into what really motivates customers to buy, that all-important thing?
All right, so I'll just repeat the question anyways to make sure people heard it. So from a marketing perspective, how we would use emotional intelligence to tap into motivating a customer to buy, we would always start with what we call a persona or avatar. So this helps you identify your target audience, who they are, what they like, what they dislike. You get to the point where you create a character, a name for this person, a photograph, a real true image, and you can then identify their pain points. You know what they're up against in their business or in their personal life, if it's a B2C, if it's a business to consumer business or a business to business business, they're kind of slightly different, but it allows you to get to the nugget of how you can best communicate with them through your messaging by meeting their needs. I would also say with a target audience, with a persona, you should review it every few months because there's a lot of macro changes in the environment, in the market, and that will fluctuate what they're feeling, how they are behaving. And ultimately, you want that customer to feel safe and seen and to respond back to you through that level of engagement. So, yeah, persona is the top tip.
Fabulous. So a great starting point there. So
snuggling.
Hang on. We're getting close again here. So what emotional blind spots do you see business owners fall into when promoting their products and services?
Right.
It's a tough one.
So this one is tough because there's a few blind spots I think most business owners would fall into if they don't have a marketing background, because I think a lot of businesses think, well, I'm doing my social media, I'm pushing out my posts, I'm kind of doing things 7 days a week, but it's not bringing me anything back. So why is it not bringing you anything back? Because there's not that emotional connection coming through in your messaging. You're sending messages out to everybody. So by doing your marketing to everyone, you're not talking to that one person you need to talk to. So no one recognises that you're directly talking to them. And I guess the best example I can probably give with this is if you think of like Nike as a brand. Nike really missed the female market back in the late 80s. It was Reebok who took the female aerobic market back then because Nike didn't recognise that women would want to wear dance type shoes to do exercise. And so Nike were trying to get in that market, but they missed the cusp of what that market was by not understanding the customer of who they were trying to get to. And that's where you've got to really hone in on who your audience is and get back to them. And to do that, you have to put yourself in that mindset to get to that point.
Brilliant.
Does that make sense?
No, perfect sense.
Perfect.
I think, it's that starting point. Marketing is our funnel into our business, and we need to be making sure that we're attracting the right people to us that get how we help them deliver their problems and turn them into solutions for them. So, next one, are you ready for this one? How do you balance being authentic in messaging with understanding the emotional journey of your target audience?
Okay, so this one comes back to knowing your brand values. Know your brand values and know your tone of voice. When it comes to brand values, what you want to do with marketing and your customer is create that emotional connection, and that creates an alignment of values. in the brand. So they have to see the values that you hold as a brand and work towards. They recognise something in that aligns back to them and their own personal values. So an example I'm going to give here, and I don't know how many people would know about this one, but Budweiser Light in the US, a couple of years ago, sent out Bud to some of what they thought were their key influencers in the market. By doing this, it ended up going to somebody who was transgender. The person put something up online, which then created their actual audience to kick off, and to the point that they lost over, I think it was close to 3 or 4 billion pounds worth of revenue almost overnight. And that was just not understanding their target audience and thinking that they could get more by trying to go somewhere else and not having researched it properly. So I think you've got to be authentic, and you've got to align those values with your audience.
Brilliant. And that's a great example of where marketing hasn't worked, where somebody in a probably little dark office somewhere has thought, that's exactly the message we want to send out to this type of person, and they've completely misunderstood and got it wrong. And I think throughout history, there's lots of those that we've seen in recent years where people have got it so wrong, and we'll skirt over some of those that we can see right now doing something similar and leave it there. Right, okay, so last but by no means least, on the tough questions, we gave Elaine the tough stuff at the beginning. We thought, we'd test her mettle, make sure.
I thought I was going last.
Mixing it up and keeping it real. Okay, so last but by no means least, what part does emotional intelligence play in making my business's marketing more resilient and effective?
Okay. Ooh. So for this one, you've really got to flip your headset. So where I'm saying you need to get into the head of your customer, what you also need to do is understand, by getting into the head of your customer, you're opening yourself to being susceptible to other marketing coming in on your own business. So you have to, and this will come back to Claire and what Claire will tell you about how to be emotionally intelligent within financing your business. What you have to do is look at your marketing with a real lens. Look at it in terms of what is driving a business in. Are you spending money that is not bringing you anything in which case I would categorically say stop doing that right now, and look at what you can start doing. See if what's working, whether you can put a bit more into it to see if it drives you a bit more, but always test. But have that lens, of mindset that because you're trying to connect with somebody on an emotional level about your own business and product, somebody is also doing that into you as well. So you've got to kind of sit with two hats on within marketing.
Brilliant.
Right. And I think I get the great job of now quizzing Claire.
We'll do a swap.
We'll do a swap.
I mean, it's the most exciting bit, guys. It's finance. Come on. Woo!
See, I told you I should have gone last. Anyway, Claire, how does emotional intelligence impact the way you communicate financial information to clients who may be feeling overwhelmed and anxious, like I sometimes come into your office?
Well, I think the first thing is when you train in accountancy, finance, management accounts, your A1 is about learning to present data and finances to different stakeholders. And really, what that means is we have to look at what your information is and how we present it for you. So none of our clients are the same, no shock there. And how we present their data is the same. Some love everything. They want to know everything. They want the full nitty-gritty. P&Ls, balance sheets, throw them at me. Others like a summary, others like graphs. Some people, we pull in some of the marketing KPI data as well. So we can say, well, actually, this is what you were doing in your marketing this month. This is what you were doing with your discounts. We were having a discussion last night. Is discounts a good thing or a bad thing as a business? And this is what it did to your revenue, this is what it did to your profit, and this is what it's driving forward. So how we really, as a firm, as us, as me, presenting to people, I get to know people and think about, right, what is the best way to present this data, this finance data? Do we need to bring in other data to make it real for you? Because revenue, profit can sometimes feel a bit dry, but if we mix in some of your other business KPIs into that, it can tell you, we're telling you a story about your business and all the activity you're doing. This is what it's playing out in a financial aspect.
And that financial data and data-driven decisions is really what's going to help your business to grow more. So what signs do you look for in clients that suggest maybe they've got a bit of fear, a bit of denial around their numbers, maybe they're starting to corral a little bit internally within themselves, and how would you navigate that emotionally?
Well, there's two ends of this spectrum. Panic calls, daily, radio silence. And we see it at either end. And really, it's about reassuring. So there's a lot going on, macro stuff. We're waiting to hear what Trump's going to do with tariffs. And you might think, not going to impact my business. But it may. You're further down the supply chains, or what happens in the markets directly impacts. So really what we're looking for is working with our clients, reassuring, bringing it back to what your business is and where your business operates in either your local, national, global environment, and bringing it back down to a kind of real level. And small sessions. So we've worked with a partnership recently, and partnerships that start having conflict between the partners, and then all of a sudden there's a concern over the financials. Breaking down small sessions. Well, why don't we this week just discuss this one area? We break it into small, relatable areas that we can work on, and then build it out from there. Because really it's about reassuring and managing what you can manage, because finance, marketing, staff, customers, there's a lot to manage in your business. So small chunks, and really saying, okay, let's not panic, let's not knee jerk, let's do small chunks and work our way through.
So really that breaking down of the data. So do you have an example where understanding clients' drivers help make a better financial decision?
Yeah, and I think I've seen this a lot recently. Who loves VAT? Anyone a big fan of VAT here? Woo! No one ever. And the conversations we've had a lot recently with business, huge concerns over the rising cost of wages. Do I really want to be VAT registered? Because, VAT's another cost. And actually what we're doing is working with businesses to say, well, do you really want to reduce your turnover, reduce your growth? Or do you just need a better way of managing that process? Cash flow forecasting, projections. Let's look at the next few months. Let's manage what those cost increases look like. Can we look at other strategies to work alongside those? Price increases, more marketing to bring more business in. I'm a particular loather of people stopping growth because of that, because it's a management thing. When you start your own business, you take on so much, and VAT is another thing to manage, but we can work through it all together. And I think it's a really one, it's kind of like a catch-22, isn't it? Should I boost more? Should I spend more to reach over the VAT threshold? Should I just keep under it? And you go around in circles. But you set your business up to earn money, and you set your business up to earn money for your family, to grow your family, to have more independence, whatever it is. And actually, we can manage those changes through VAT and cash flow, through financial forecasting and growth strategies. And then actually VAT doesn't become a thing anymore. VAT isn't your barrier. And I think that is a real big thing at the minute to get over.
Definitely. Sorry, I realised I was a bit far away then. I think I'd gone to the main stage. Does building emotional intelligence support the creation of resilient financial strategies and your business plan, and within that, the wider business planning?
Yeah, so I think, you have to dig deep and be emotionally quite strong. in this day and age. Things change quite quickly. Brexit, COVID, my favourite, Liz Truss. Everything's kind of changing, big things changing really quickly. So we already have to be quite emotionally strong. And I think what we want to do with our emotional intelligence, with finance in particular, is be strong, be transparent, don't be afraid to look at the numbers alongside everything else. Because when you need to pivot, if anyone watches Friends, a nice Friends moment, pivot. If anyone needs to pivot or be agile, that is what we have to do. We are not in a static, 0% bank interest rates for quite a long time. We're not in that environment anymore, and it's unlikely we're going to get back there anytime soon. So with emotional intelligence, we need to build strength. We need to make people transparent. We need to be comfortable with talking about our numbers so that we can move them where we need to, move our forecasts forwards, change them. And I say forecasts rather than budgets, because budget sounds static. This is our budget, we keep within it, or we use it all up. It's a very different thing. Forecasts, rolling forecasts, let's keep moving forwards, let's keep changing, adapting, and being those agile business owners that we can. But to do that, we need to make you feel confident in talking about your numbers and looking at them. However good or bad they may be, you've got to look at them and you need to understand them.
So agile, like marketing, you're always moving, always changing. So how can, and lastly for you, Claire, and maybe not the toughest, or it probably is actually, how can business owners use financial planning to build even resilience into their operations?
Forecasting.
Mic drop moment.
I love a forecasting, but also collaboration. So I think it's really important that from a financial perspective to work with other people that build into your financial world. Do you have a financial advisor? Working with marketing, working with your growth coach, collaborating. Anyone in finance in your business should not be a static unit. Your accountant should not be a static unit. They should be talking and building in, adopting the KPIs you have in your business to help you move forward. And I think that's the thing we can do the most. Just use your financial planning, but make sure it is feeding in and out of other people advising you in your life and in your work, because that is incredibly important, that everyone is working for you and everyone is reaching for your business goals. And that's it. That's it for me. Anyway, whew, phew, over.
Okay, then we're going to do a shimmy.
Just to raise the energy, Emma, as the business coach aspect, is here to deliver her section. Emma, where do you see emotional intelligence making the biggest difference in leadership and business growth?
Ooh, okay, so I think there's been some cool words already. We've seen and heard agile, we've heard forecasting, got excited about it. I was the only person that got excited about VAT. Woohoo! Sad, because I'm not an accountant, and thank God I'm not, because I'd be rubbish at it. But what I would say is where I see emotional intelligence really being the starting point for getting leadership really working within your business is where we use it to understand our culture and our values. So the likes of Mr. Simon Semenak talk about the power of people and the power of if you don't understand your people, your business is likely to come to a halt in the relatively near future. So the power of understanding how we connect and what we're connecting with is the real sort of secret sauce for me of getting things right. And the words that we use when we talk about culture, about how it will feel, what it will look like for you when you're a member of my team, or what it will look like when you interact with me and my services, are really so emotionally driven. They're all about that trust, integrity, feeling good. It's a celebration moment, whatever it is. 80% of our decisions come from our heart. We'd like to think it's our head. And I think even listening to Claire now, we saw something as linear as finance has to be taken on board with a level of emotional intelligence as well. So for me, it's that starting with how it helps us understand exactly what we stand for.
So how do you help deliver good self-awareness with clients without getting over that kind of like whole defensiveness, self-defense, just like, ugh?
And it can be. So when I'm talking to clients, when we're talking about our business, who's a business owner in the room today? All of us? Yeah, pretty much all of us. Okay. Is your business your baby? Yeah? How much time do we spend with it? We spend a lot, don't we? We love it, we nurture it. Sometimes we really resent it, other times we hate it. It's all of those things, and it's a real gamut of emotions we go through. So for me, it's that trying to stay neutral. Okay, so I am, you might have noticed, quite a big, loud, jiggle around kind of person, but actually, lots of what I do is sometimes be quite small and ask really small, quiet questions about what did you notice when that happened? What did it feel like? I'm not a therapist. I don't ever want to be a therapist. I'm not smart enough to be a therapist. But actually, business often there's stuff that happens, and we need to kind of pull it back and ask the small questions that might be quite difficult to keep it in that neutral state and to reflect on things, to reflect, review, learn, so then we can go away and do it better next time.
So, big one for today. What practical actions can everyone here take this week to help build emotional intelligence in their decision making?
Okay, there's some cool stuff we can do, and it depends on who you are. So you might want to go away and journal. You might want to go and write stuff down and use that actually as a reflective tool. You might want to go out there and ask your team about what it feels like to be led by you, because we all have a perception. And what's our perception? It's our reality, isn't it? So we might think we're a dynamic, inclusive, all-round epic leader, and actually what we are is a bit too full on for some of our team, and actually we might lose them in translation sometimes with all our arm waving and things like that. So it might be about going back and asking for some real feedback and reflecting on that. So for me, the big sort of takeaway from today is look at reflecting, and then be strategic. Be strategic with understanding where it is you actually want to go. So using your emotional intelligence and building resilience into your business by understanding what's my business going to look like in the next 3, 6, 12 months.
So from what people can be doing next week to long term. So how can emotional intelligence support long term business strategy, business growth, resilience?
I think for me, what it really helps us do is think better under pressure. Because whose life is really easy here? Yeah? Everybody's? No, nobody's is. How many plates are we juggling on a daily basis? 15, 16? A lot, isn't there? So when we can be really clear, when we can hold our emotions in check, we don't hold them back, but hold them in check, we can actually be much more effective at making decisions based on those right actions, not the wrong actions. So use it as that, measure. It can help us manage risk. It can help us engage with our team. It can help us re-engage with our business. It allows us to be dynamic, agile, forecast, all of those things. So I think emotional intelligence is one of the biggest skills that we can tap into as business owners, and we can use it right the way across the board.
And I know you see this as a business asset, having emotional intelligence, emotional qualities. So tell us, why do you believe, why is this a business asset and just not just a soft skill you need to pull out of your back pocket when the time comes?
Sometimes emotional intelligence can feel that it does sit under that sort of fluffy cloud thing of something that's not measurable, but it truly is. So for me, one of the greatest things is that being emotionally intelligent allows us to deal with conflict. Because as we've already ascertained, life is not linear, it's not easy. We have to be dynamic, we have to be, able to move quickly and effectively, or sometimes slow and understanding. So managing conflict and managing difficult conversations, whether that's with your team, whether it's sometimes with our clients and our customers, all of those things for me, it's an absolute must to understand what it really does for us as a business and how we can own it and enable them from it.
Super. Thank you, Emma, and thank you, everyone. Are there any questions? I know it's a big topic. We're going to be around. We're at stand 150.
150?
So, stand 150, QR code takes you straight to our website. We enjoy working with all businesses, and we hold seminars. We're at the end of the phone. If you've got any questions, do ask us. But we were thrilled to be able to speak to you guys today, and thank you for staying. So there's a lot of excitement out there. Thank you very much.